Up. Just a first question about how do you see cyberpunk? What is your vision today?
Today, cyberpunk has evolved.
Yes.
It's about looking at the future in a very detailed way, with the understanding that the future is going to be multicultural, and that technology will be used in very different ways by different elements of society.
Yes.
So that is a vision that is still true for any future that I that I think about today.
Yes. Could you write the same book that Hardwire, for example, today?
I could write it, but I don't know if I could sell it.
Yes.
American publishers are very conservative now,
Yeah.
in terms of what they're buying. And so I think a book that radical needed the 1980s. 1980s was the perfect time to be a science fiction writer in America.
Yes. Wow.
The publishers were buying a lot of stuff. It was possible to make a living. It's more difficult now. Not for me because I'm established, but
Yes.
But for a new writer now, it's very hard.
It's science fiction or cyberpunk or technology? What do you think?
I think publishers have become very nostalgic for traditional stories.
Yes.
And sometimes for the sorts of stories that they read when they were young.
Oh.
Or they think that that's what the audience wants.
Yes.
I think we need more editors like, say, Frederick Pohl.
Yeah.
Was a great writer, but he was a wonderful editor. He was one of the best editors
Yes.
we've seen in science fiction. And he made some very brave choices.
Yes.
He bought Dahlgren
Yes.
by Delaney. He bought a very controversial book by Joanna Russ. And these books made money.
Yeah.
So I almost wish he had stayed an editor.
Yeah.
We would have lost some really great works of science fiction.
Okay.
But he was very pioneering in his editorial work. So.
Okay. Another book, Plasma.
Yes.
How do you see it, and how the idea come?
I thought those books were high fantasy.
Yeah. Ah, okay. You think?
Yeah, I thought they were high
Yes.
fantasy. Nobody read them that way.
Right.
Because although there was magic,
Yeah.
there were people who were magicians. I described the magic as magic. I described the magicians as magicians. People were used to seeing science fiction from me. And so, because there were also science fiction elements like computers and flying cars, they assumed that it was a science fiction novel, and they were very frustrated.
Yes.
They weren't reading it in the way that I intended.
Yeah.
And so if I ever get a chance to write the concluding book to that series, I'll address all of those issues.
No. It's very interesting because you write about energy in plasma,
yeah.
and it's very actually now a problem. You think you smell this problematic when you wrote?
Well, energy has been a big issue for the last 30 or 40 years,
Yes.
not just in science fiction, but in reality. So, but what I realized was that if you have magic and you have technology, then the delivery system for the magic becomes technological.
Yes.
Because it's more reliable. You don't have to draw pentagrams on the ground and wear robes and go around chanting. So in this world, magic is a metered public utility, which anyone can use, provided they have the money to access it.
But do you saw a sort of message, maybe? And
I'm not. I have political views and a political orientation.
Yes.
I'm not strongly ideological.
Yeah.
From my point of view, that was a story about a woman from a very deprived background who was able to rise in the world.
Okay.
Thanks to her own talent and to the ruthlessness of her mentor, who was able to make the decisions that she could not.
Okay.
And the third volume would show how that relationship changed. So.
Okay. A word maybe about Jack Vance.
Oh yes.
And Song of the Dying Art.
It's interesting. Jack Vance is someone that I came to as an adult.
Yes.
I think most American science fiction writers read him when they were young. And I did also, but I must have read the wrong stuff, or I didn't understand it or something, because he wasn't the sort of constant presence in my thinking. So I came to Jack Vance as a grown-up, and then read everything I could find. So I have a somewhat different appreciation of his work, I think, than most of the people in this volume. The story that I wrote ended up being a pastiche of Jack Vance's style, and I didn't intend that. I didn't intend it at all. But once I was writing about people who spoke in the way that Jack Vance's characters speak, and who had names and situations that were very like those of Jack Vance, then the style kind of naturally followed from that. And it was a surprise to me, at least.
It was a pleasure, or maybe
it was great
difficult.
Fun.
Yes.
No, it was very easy and very fun.
Yeah. Okay. A question about the Fourth Wall, your last book.
Right. Yeah.
What is it?
It's set in the near future.
Yeah.
It's about the future of entertainment.
Okay.
And how the people who provide your entertainment will also have an agenda of their own. And if you're lucky, that agenda will simply be to make money. Okay, that they will just take the information that they get when you join their programs or watch their movies or whatever, and use that to generate data, which they can then use to sell more products.
Okay.
On the other hand, if you have if this entertainment is sponsored by people with some other kind of agenda, say a political agenda, or if it is sponsored by, say, an intelligence agency or an organ of the government, then it becomes more problematic. So the story is about an actor who is involved in an online project, but who gradually discovers that his employers have an agenda that's very different from his.
Okay. And now, the next books.
I have been concentrating the last few years on short fiction.
Yeah.
And I have a lot of short fiction that's just come out this year. I've been writing short fiction for 3 years, and now it's all appearing all within a few months.
Okay.
So you're going to see a lot of that. But I've just started a big new project, but I don't want to talk about it.
Okay.
I don't want to spoil the magic.
The last question, we sat together in Nantes in 5 years.
Yeah.
What is your relations with France?
I think France is a country that I visited more often than any other country.
Okay.
And Utopiales is a part of that, obviously,
Yes.
because I've been here 3 times, and to this wonderful convention. I just enjoy it here. You know, I think about moving here every so often.
Is it
living someplace
different with United States?
It's different in interesting ways, just in the ways that. Here, the very old and the very new exist simultaneously. Yeah. You know, and all of the regions of France just have their own distinctive characteristics that are still maintained, even in the modern world. I see a little of that in the States, but the joke is that in Europe. Or in America, 100 miles is a short distance, and 100 years is a very long time. And here it's the other way around. So.
Okay. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you.